I hope he doesn't get the sickness.
My boy Kurt is a stay-at-home dad, watching Disney movies he never had. His daughter digs through all the VHS, crushing the classics in a princess dress. Informed like Scuttle, Kurt's got your ticket, making it real like Jiminy Cricket. Most off the Captain Hook, but if the Tweedle dumb, he'll be taking more shots than Bambi's mom. Leaves him raised like Simba, or cracked like the beast dishes. He'll show you a whole new world, you won't need 3 wishes. Stay-at-home Disney dad.
Coming soon, Lilo and Stitch. Ohana means family. Touches my heart every time, serious. Winnie the Pooh something, which means fast forward. Airbud, Airbud, Airbud. You ever notice there's nothing funnier in these live action kids movies than an adult dancing silly? Some other movie about a kid who's supposedly moving school, so he spends his last week burning everything down and causing trouble at that school, only it turns out his family doesn't move after all and he has to come back to that same school again Monday morning. That's a fun premise. Max Kimball's Big Movie. Huh. Ad for Tarzan and Jane. Ad for Monsters, Inc. So many. They just keep coming. Weird computer animated Disney film reel intro. Feature presentation. What was that? Here we go. Classic scrolling blue logo. All I know about this movie is that Jennifer Love Hewitt is Madeline, so I'm already all in. Us Gen Xers, we love Hewitt. Her career started on the Disney Channel on Kids Inc. back in 1989. Then she went on to Party of Five in 1995. I Know What You Did Last Summer in 1997. Can't Hardly Wait in 1999. And then her career ended back here at Disney with Hunchback of Notre Dame 2 in 2002. Love you, Jen. Walt Disney Pictures presents The Hunchback of Notre Dame 2. We start with, this guy, don't tell me, I know his name. It is Jabloom Fatu. Was I close? There's Quasimodo, the goat with the earring is back. Phoebus and Esmeralda smooch in front of Quazi. Nice. Right away you notice the lack of quality in this animation. Okay, I don't know who else grew up going to Sunday school in the 80s, but those religious Christian VHS movies from around that era all look exactly like this. Like that 80s religious programming animation has a look, and this is it. The statues are back, and oh Lord, Jason Alexander is back getting another Disney payday. I can't talk about this again. I can't spend any more time trying to figure out why Disney keeps paying Jason Alexander to play these B characters. And I have nothing against the man, I don't. I just know his voicing fees have to be through the roof, like 20 times what a regular voice actor would be. And they keep paying that wage. This time he's Gargoyle number 3 and Hunchback number 2. Yeah, you gotta have Jason Alexander. You know, the man who demands Seinfeld money. Give him whatever he wants. This direct-to-VHS sequel is going to fail without George Costanza's Gargoyle number 3. Okay, I lied. I went off. That was like the 5th time I've talked about that. I would love to see a pie chart of that man's earnings and how much of it comes from Disney royalties. Whatever. Hunchback of Notre Dame 2. There's a little boy who plays with Quazi. I pray that Quazi isn't babysitting Phoebus and Esmeralda. Oh, it is. Okay. Guy, I know the friend zone is like a made-up concept to everyone that only exists in the minds of dudes who can't close and don't think it's anything they did or didn't do, but after seeing this, I don't know, this is animated friend zone right here. We see a giant bell covered in jewels. Esmeralda loves the giant bell. I swear, Phoebus takes every opportunity to subtly remind Quazi that he and Esmeralda do adult things with their bodies. I'm already sad for Quazi. He looks at his reflection in the bell and Ez tries to tell him that he's not ugly. I mean, you know, she wouldn't date him in a million years, but hey, some gal might. Oh, a circus rolled into Paris. I feel like the main magician's mask went on to become something else, like years later. Like it reminds me of something dark, like someone in a horror movie or true crime documentary wore something like this. I don't even know what to Google to look it up. Maybe I'm thinking too hard. But for whatever reason, I see that mask and it sends off like warning lights in my skull. Like maybe that's a question for my therapist. I don't know. The magician does a trick and reveals his lovely assistant Madeline, and poof! She doesn't appear. Where is she? She's a block away. We meet Madeline. She totally Ariel'd it. She's supposed to be part of his trick, but she lost track of time practicing her tightrope walking act. Oh no, Daddy, they're her rehearsal. She says sorry. The evil magician says her job is to stand there and look pretty. And he has the perfect job for a, quote, girl like you. He wants her to go steal the bell. Yikes. She doesn't want to steal the bell. She says she was thinking, and he cuts her off and says, thinking isn't your strong point. Jeez, this guy. He asks where she'd be without him. On the streets is the answer. Well, this is off to a cheery start. He tells her, like in Disney talk, of course, to seduce the ugly bell ringer and steal the bell. Here we go. She enters the cathedral looking for the hideous bell ringer. Keep that in mind. She says her name is Madeline and she, quote, just loves bells. And I mean, no, focus. She tells him she loves bells and he falls for it. What's your name? He says, Quasimodo. Really? You couldn't lie and say like it's Kevin? She opens the blinds to see him, covers her mouth, and runs away. So just to recap here, she went in there expecting to see a hideous, deformed man, but she underestimated the levels of his hideous and deformation, and she turns away and runs in disgust. That could have gone better. He sits down and starts making a little Madeline figure for his little wooden city collection. So weird. One gargoyle, who's not Jason Alexander, asks if he's okay. He says, no, you saw the way she looked at me. And this gargoyle says, well, make her look again. Damn, that's good advice. Quasi breaks into song and starts inching his toy Quasi and his toy Madeline closer and closer, and I'm just going to stop for a bit. Yep, he's still singing. Smart Gargoyle says he can stay here and hope for a miracle, or you can get out there and make a miracle happen. This gargoyle is killing it with life advice in Hunchback 2. They give Quasi a makeover, and they send him to the circus, and I really wanted him to make that slow-mo entrance down the staircase while everyone turns in shock and stands up like in every 90s movie. Kiss me beneath the milky twilight. Phoebus says he hates the circus because it's a bunch of dirty traveling performers like, and Esmeralda says gypsies, and he's like, yeah, no! That's pretty funny. Enjoy sleeping on the couch, you moron. Madeline doesn't want to be part of this anymore. The bad circus magician says she owes him because when she was 6, she was starving and he caught her stealing his bread, and he didn't turn her into the authorities. He reminds her that all she has to do is be pretty. The bad guy entertains everyone on the circus stage. He makes Madeline appear and works this time. She brings an elephant on stage and he tells everyone not to look away because he's going to make the elephant disappear. While this is happening and everyone is watching the elephant, his henchmen are in the crowd pickpocketing everyone. This is really good, okay? Quasi is still babysitting their kid and his name is Zephyr. Madeline watches Quasi interact with Zephyr, and she's smitten because Quasi is just so darn good with kids. Quasi and Zephyr break into a duet, and I know I'm going to get the PG rating here, but this song should have like a quick cutaway of like Phoebus and Esmeralda somewhere behind a tent in the alley just making out hard, like, sounds great, guys, yeah, add a 5th verse, Phoebus is all thinking, I can't wait to tell Quasimodo in great detail how we got it on and we don't pay him for babysitting. Yeah, it was worth it. That's what's happening. There it is. One of the lyrics Quasi and Zephyr sing are, we are closer than, quote, frack and frick. What? Quasi and Madeline meet and she pretends she's interested and the bad circus guy does this. The townspeople are all mad. They were robbed and Phoebus is like, wait, the circus comes to town and everyone is robbed. There's gotta be a connection here somewhere. Think, Phoebus, think. Quasi and Madeline are in the bell tower and he tries to be romantic and he tells her to close her eyes and listen to Paris. And when she closes her eyes, I swear there's all these weird sounds and I think she's having like legit horrible flashbacks to her crappy childhood. This guy cannot get a break. Then the gargoyles sing, so the viewers can't win either. They can't get a break. They sing, he's fa-la-la-la falling in love. This has to be one of the worst non-racist songs ever in a Disney movie. Quasi and Madeline tour the city during the song. She tightrope walks across a clothesline. They spin dance in the rain. Animation has slightly improved. He takes her to the bell tower and so she can change out of her wet clothes, and we get the like changing silhouette of Madeline behind a hanging sheet. Then she sees the bell. She says it's beautiful, and Quasi says, yes, you are. I mean, yes, it is, but she's even more beautiful on the inside. That's what he says about the bell, and there it is. The line, he landed so smooth. Oh, I love it. They're inside the bell, and Quasi tells her, you should get warm. She smiles at him, and he's like, there you go, and gives her a blanket by the fire. Come on, man, you just landed the perfect, like, beauty on the inside line, and you go, okay. They have a moment, though she says he understands the world better than anyone she's ever met. He gives her a gift. It's her little wood carving girl he made of her, like the toy, and it looks kind of like a chubby Madeline. Dude, this is like Strike 58. Scene change, now Esmeralda is performing on the stage, and Quasi pulls her off, and she realizes Quasi is in love with Madeline. She's not really any help, though, because You know when you're young and someone has a crush on you, but you're not interested at all, and then like a few months later you find out that person that had a crush on you now has a crush on someone else, and even though you didn't want that person at all, for some reason it still kind of hurts? That's what's happening here. She's like, oh, okay. Phoebus says the circus people are thieves. Quasi says, well, not Madeline. My heart is already breaking for where this is heading. Madeline is back practicing her tightrope walking act, and the bad guy scolds her. I feel like her tightrope walking act is gonna like eventually save the day in this movie. So they keep going back to it. The bad circus guy tells her to lead Quasi out of harm's way so him and his men can steal the bell. If she doesn't, him and his men will kill Quasimodo. Phoebus confronts the circus master, who's in his chamber surrounded by pictures of himself. Phoebus calls him out, but the bad guy makes Phoebus look like a fool. I can't even remember the one line, but it's just like... then he cries and he puts on a performance and says Madeline is actually a thief, and Phoebus immediately is like, okay, that checks out, and I'll leave you to yourself, he says. And the circus master goes and looks at pictures of himself again. That's kind of funny. Can we also talk about how Phoebus and Esmeralda are just horrible people? Like, Phoebus clearly can't take Quasi being happy. He has to ruin it. He's that friend. While everyone is out looking for Quasi and Madeline, the circus man and his goons find the bell, La Fidèle it's called, and they go to steal it. Quasi asks Madeline to the ball, and she's like, I'm not the person you think I am, but I want to be that person. Well, that's a pretty good line. The ringmaster chants a spell and the bell actually disappears. That escalated. The gig is up, the bell La Fidèle is gone, and all fingers point to Madeline, and Quasi has his heart broken into a billion pieces as she's arrested. Disney sequel twist. She started out as a bad guy and tried to infiltrate the good guys and did, and then became a good guy, but then the bad guys showed back up and were like, good job, bad guy, and she was like, no, not now, I'm not a bad guy anymore, and the good guys were like, you lied to us. Every Disney sequel. Sarouche is the name of the bad guy. Okay, Sarouche. The animation picks up again. Everyone in town is now looking for the missing bell, and we pan below the city, and they have the bell on a boat in the sewer. This is great. Beneath the bell, they find the kid and the goat. They like hid under the bell when it was stolen. Madeline is in jail, and Phoebus tells Phoebus that Sarouche is using the underground catacombs to move the bell because that's how he made the elephant disappear. He doesn't believe her. And Esmeralda says, maybe take another look at her, like you did me. What? I don't think you want that, Esmeralda. Phoebus takes Madeline as a prisoner, and they head to the catacombs to find the bell. They apparently have no idea the kid is missing. Also, Jolly is the name of the goat. I'm learning a lot of names late in this movie. Okay, the Hunchback is there now as well. Here we go, third act. It's a good old-fashioned third act in the sewers with a giant bell on a gondola. The protagonist surrounds Sarouche and his boat, but he holds up Zephyr, the kid, and says he'll kill Zephyr if they don't let him escape with the bell. Madeline begs Quasi to untie her so she can help. They agree and open the gates so Sarouche could escape. Quasi has a last-minute change of heart and unties Madeline after he scolded her. The boat floats to safety, and here we go. Quasi sends a rope across the stream. Madeline tightrope walks across it and snatches Zephyr out of the boat from above. That was fun. I called it. Great animation, great angles of that scene. Great hero shot of Madeline as Sarouche is surprised and looking up at her. What are you doing here? And Madeline says, just looking pretty. Sarouche gets dragged away to jail and says, wait, I could do birthday parties. Is that making fun of the murderous narrator from the first movie? I like that. Back in town, Quasi rings the bell and Phoebus and Ez yell that they love each other again for some reason. I don't know what's going on. Even his horse finds a mate. Madeline brings Quasi a flower, and the city watches as Quasi and Madeline flirt. The gargoyles say, aw, take good care of our boy. She looks back to the gargoyles and says, don't worry, I will, and gives them a sultry wink. Sex. She's talking about sex. She's gonna have sex with Quasimodo.
That's what I think about.
What do you think?
What we have is a concern about Curtis Anderson. His interviewing style is not the best. His personal appearance is not the best. I was wondering if the man has some kind of a hold over the channel that he's allowed to be employed for so long with the standards of journalism and personal appearance that he has.